Welcome to Sisterhood Check-in. I am your author and coach, Nadira Lewis, and I'm excited that you have taken yet another Friday to spend with me on Sisterhood Check-in. Thank you guys so much. If you are watching us on YouTube, make sure you click like and share. And make sure you hit the notification button so that you can be notified every time we upload a new video. If you are watching us via Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, make sure you click like and share if you've been blessed by the content that you've been receiving this far. So, hey guys, I'm excited. Today is going to be an amazing show, amazing broadcast. We basically had planned for Shalina Broster to be with us. Unfortunately, she had something happen, and we will see and commune with her next week. So make sure you guys follow back with us on next Friday at 10 o'clock here on Sisterhood Check-in. But in the meantime, we are going to continue our show, and we are going to talk about an amazing topic that I've been pretty much thinking about the majority of the day. And it's just something I guess we just going to have to talk about today. So make sure you guys get a pen and a pad because this is going to be amazing. And this is going to be a topic that maybe some of you have already read the title. Maybe you haven't. But I believe it's going to bless everybody that's actually hearing. So if you are watching us today for the first time, let us know where you're watching from. Let us know exactly how Sisterhood Check-in has been blessing you. If you've been a constant watcher of the broadcast, let us know how Sisterhood Check-in has been helping you. We love to have your feedback. So before we go into our topic, I want to play this video for you guys, and I'm going to give you a chance to get your ink pen and your paper and your pad because you're going to learn something tonight. So make sure you go ahead and grab that, and we'll be back after this. All right, and we are back. So guys, I want to talk to you about a subject that I have been thinking about. So I know that I have a lot of people out there that are visionaries, that are dreamers. Maybe you have a business, maybe you have a dream. Maybe there's something that God has put on your heart that you struggle to bring into manifestation or that you struggle to operate in. And we're going to talk about that. And today's topic is going to be, have you lost your ability to dream? Now, some of you might say, well, I dream all the time. I don't have a problem. And then there's some of us that may say, well, I may have had a dream. I may have had a desire to do something in life, but something in my life has caused me to shift and caused me to feel like that very thing that I had a desire for is no longer as strong or present. And we're going to talk about some of those reasons why. What causes your dream what causes you to lose hope? What causes people to wind up feeling like they're around people that are dream killers, what I would call? Or maybe you just don't have enough faith or belief system that everything that's on the inside of you, that you have the ability to even bring it to pass. So we're going to talk about some of those. So the first thing I want to talk about is your belief system, right? Your belief system shows you your current state of mind, right? So if you have a dream or if you have a desire, strong desire to do something in your life and you hesitate on moving on it or hesitate to be able to operate in it, a lot of the times it may just be the fact that it's just a little bit of proof that you don't really believe what God said that he was going to manifest in your life, or you don't believe that you have the ability to do the thing that you may have seen. And some of us dream big. Some of us go to bed at night and we're waking up feeling like we can conquer the world. And then there's some of us that feel like, that sounds great in a dream, but I'm looking at my current circumstances. My money is not where it needs to be. My head is not where it needs to be. I've gone through so many things in life, relationships, loss of a family member, lost my job, may have been sick, and just don't have any hope, right? And so I want you to look at your belief system. And if you have that mindset where you feel like that, then that's proof of your state of mind. And there's an issue with your belief system, right? What you believe drives what you do, and what you do determines what you achieve. Okay. And what you might say, well, what do you mean by that? I can tell your desire to do something by your actions. If you say, like, when you think about a kid, right? When you think about children when they're young, children know exactly what they want to do. They say, oh, I want to be a basketball player. I want to be a nurse. I want to be this. And so what they do is they start to play in a room and they start to pretend, right? And they start turning everything, especially if they want to be doctors, right? They turn everything in the room into a patient. The baby dolls are flipped over and the baby dolls are turning into sick babies. If they want to be a fireman, all of a sudden everything in the house is, pretty much they're demonstrating by their actions. They're activating what they believe in their heart that they want to achieve, right? So if I was to look at you and I was to look at your life, what would your life show me? What would your actions show me? If you say, yeah, I want to be able to run my own business, I want to be an entrepreneur, do your actions demonstrate or are consistent with what you say you want to do? Think about that, right? And I'm not saying that you have to, if you say I want to be an entrepreneur, everything's going to happen all at one time, because entrepreneurship is a step-by-step thing. There's things that you're going to have to develop through as an individual. And there's some things you're going to have to develop around in terms of business. So I want you to think about some of the things that you do when you're dreaming or you have that desire to do something. Are your actions consistent with that you're trying to achieve? If you say you want to be an entrepreneur, are you studying entrepreneurship? And I'm not talking about all the basic unnecessary things that really don't have anything to do with entrepreneurship. Are you taking the necessary actions, the necessary steps to be able to show that you want to be an entrepreneur, right? If you know that you want to bake a cake and you love to bake cakes, what do? You start playing around in the kitchen. You start mixing ingredients. You start doing different things to show your actions starts to be consistent with the thing that you're desiring. So look at some of the things that you're doing and look at your actions and tell me, are your actions demonstrating your belief that you want to go in that direction? I know I want to, and I've always desired to be an entrepreneur. So there's just some things I just do that show me that this is the area that I'm supposed to be in, right? And some of those things is I might have different businesses. I might start reading different books on entrepreneurship. I start following people and gleaning from other entrepreneurs. It's my actions that demonstrate to me that my desire for entrepreneurship is coming into manifestation because I'm doing the very things that I desire to do. It's manifesting. So it's proof that I believe that I'm an entrepreneur, right? Your behavior depends on your belief, meaning your attitude, right? So first we talked about your belief shows you your current state of mind, and we talked about what you believe drives what you do, right? The third thing I want to talk about is your behavior, right? How do you see yourself? Do you see yourself as a business owner? Do you see yourself as that particular thing that you desire, whether it's in music, whether it's in acting, whether it's just being a normal person? Because you don't have to, what makes a dream big is your desire to do it. Let me say that again. What makes a dream big is your desire to do it. So if you desire, you don't even have to desire entrepreneurship. You can desire to be a nurse. You could desire to be a good friend. You could desire whatever that desire is, right? Whatever it is that you're dreaming about, right? Your behavior should match that. When you look at Tiger Woods, right? Tiger Woods, all his life, studied. That's all he did was play golf. He played golf all his life. His behavior, his actions demonstrated what he believed about himself, right? I don't know. I know a lot of you probably watched that movie. How many of y'all watched a movie with Venus and Serena, King Richard? Oh my gosh, that was an amazing movie. Now, there are some movies I only watch one time and I'm good and I'm done. But then there are other movies that are so inspirational that I have to watch them several times. And I thought it was really interesting that even at a young age, that their father was helping them become the person that he knew that they were supposed to be, right? He was shaping their life. He was shaping their actions. He was shaping their activities. What are you doing in your life that is shaping your activities? What are you doing that's shaping your mindset, right? To become that very thing that you want to be, right? When I talked about we're still in belief now. Belief, when we said that how belief shows you your current state of mind, right? And we talked about how, hold on, let me get my notes back up, and that what you believe drives what you do, right? And what you do determines what you achieve. Then we talked about your behavior, right? So we talked about your behavior, how your actions need to line up with the very thing that you want to do. You say you want to do something. What have you done? I am so weary of hearing people say I am and I'm doing this and I'm doing that, and there's no action behind the very thing that they say they want to do. I want to be a coach, but you're not out there helping nobody. I want to be a nurse, but you don't have no concern for other people. I want to be a business owner, but yet you don't even like helping people where you are now. So what makes you think you're going to do it for a living, right? So you have to think about what are your actions? What are your actions telling you about your belief system, right? So number 2, and we're still talking about, have you lost your ability to dream, right? So number 2, sometimes what contributes to our loss of our ability to dream is your sight, your vision, right? Your sight. Some of you, your sight is killing you. You are so attached to what is going on in your life at this moment that you have no vision for, because think about Jesus, right? Jesus said, for the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross. There are some things in our life that we are going to have to set before us. It doesn't mean that the things that you're facing are not real. It doesn't mean that the things that you go through is not real. It just means that you're not living by what you see. You're living by, and I'm talking about living by what's before you. You're living by what you see with your spiritual eye, not necessarily with your physical eye. Because there are sometimes, let me tell you, I can speak. I am the expert when it comes to this, and I say expert because I remember there was a time where all I had, when you are around a certain environment, you kind of develop a certain mindset, right? And that mindset is what leads you into certain things and certain behaviors because that is what you're accustomed to, right? So I've had to position myself and say, you know what, in order for me to get beyond this physical aspect of what I see, I got to live beyond what I see physically before me. And I've got to live in the future, live in terms, not ignore the present, but see where I should be or where I want to go so that I can be able to make it through my present circumstances. Because sometimes I didn't always have everything that I wanted. Sometimes it was hard to really see when you, especially when you're dealing with so many things, whether it's grief or financial situations or illness, it's hard to see past where you are, right? And you have to get around. Sometimes you have to get around other. When you think about, I heard Miles Monroe say this, and he said you got to get around people. If you know that you desire to be more or do more than what you're currently doing now, you have to position yourself around other people to keep you motivated so that you can keep looking at where, not just currently looking at your physical side, but look at where you want to go. Yeah, I may not be where I want to be financially, but guess what? It's not going to be this way all the time. Guess what? I'm doing the necessary things. I'm focusing on what's before me because I know that this is a temporary situation. Your physical situation is a temporary situation. And if you don't remind yourself of that, you're going to get lost. All right. And what you see physically, you're going to get lost. Oh, I live over here and I live in this. I live in the hood. I don't have this. I don't have enough money. I can't do this. Let me tell you something. What most people don't tell you is that entrepreneurship requires you having the ability to be resourceful. If you are not resourceful, you are going to have a very difficult time maintaining the status of entrepreneurship, right? You have to be resourceful. And what I've learned is sometimes the different things that we go through in our life train us to change our mindset so that we can learn how to manage our finances in the midst of not having very much. Boy, that's like the basic education of handling your finances when you ain't got nothing, right? You learn how to manage stuff real quick when you ain't got nothing, right? 0 plus 0 equals 0, right? 1 plus 1 is 2, right? So I want you to take some time and I want you to think about what's before you, right? We hear a lot about vision boards and making sure, but sometimes the vision board only shows, right, what we want physically, right? But what about your spirit, man? What about the thing? Because what good is it, what profit to gain the whole world and lose your soul? Your soul is comprised of your mind, will, and emotions. What difference? I mean, if you're not in the right frame of mind, if you're not taking care of yourself emotionally, physically, spiritually, if you're, then it doesn't matter what you have physically. That's only going to last for a moment. How do I know that? Because I've seen people who have lots of money and are still depressed. I've seen people who are fulfilling their goals and their dreams and their focus, right? But they have not taken time to grow. And the Bible tells us, brethren, I wish above all things that you prosper and be in health, right? And the word prosper means to grow. It means to grow. So God wishes above all things that we prosper and be in health, even as our soul prospers. You have to look at your health. You have to look at your mental health. You have to look at your emotional health. You have to look at your physical health. Those things make a difference. So as you're seeing yourself, you might say, well, I'm 100 pounds overweight. I don't really have a vision of myself being this amount of weight. Well, guess what? If you don't place something before you to look at something so that you can work towards it, you're going to be easily discouraged, right? And you're going to lose your ability to dream and see yourself as the person that you want to be, right? I think of every day when I get up, I'm always thinking about what I want to do for that day. I'm always thinking about how I can influence and impact, all right, the people that are around me. So when you think about influence, right? Influence means that you have the ability to dominate your area, right? So you can't dominate your area and yet become an influence if you don't take time to walk in and move towards that very thing that you know that God has called you to do, right? So, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to continue our conversations. And put it in the comments. Let me know, have you lost your ability to dream? And if you have, what are some things that you can share with us to help other women that may be watching, that can help them get through those discouraging moments where they felt like they've lost their ability to dream? So I want you to take some time and call up your friends and say, hey, have you look, girl, I know you've been feeling a certain way. I know you've been discouraged, but Nadira is on Sisterhood Check-in, and she's talking about ways in which you can restore your ability to dream. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. Dira, author, life, and business coach, founder of the Becoming a Woman of Proverbs, Wisdom, and Entrepreneur Academy. Thanks so much for stopping by our site. Make sure you check out our on-demand courses. And if you have any questions or you would like to book a call with me, make sure you click the link below and we'll go ahead and get you started on the way to becoming the best version of who you were ordained to be. All right, and we are back, and we are discussing the why people lose their ability to dream, right? So in the first half, we were talking about when it came to why people lose their ability to dream. Is the first thing was their belief system, right? Some of us struggled in our belief system. We talked about that, right? Some of us struggle with our sight, right? We struggle with what we see before us, everything that we think about, and everything that contributes to our dreams and our vision is always, we can't see past our current situation. And so sometimes, as I was saying, it just means you may need to get around like-minded people, right? You may need to get around other people that can stir you up, that have the same that have the same mindset. Don't be hanging around people that don't have the same type of mindset, because it's going to discourage you from becoming everything, because you're going to look at yourself and you're going to compare yourself. And it's almost like, I like this because I like Losing Isaiah, the TV show, the movie Losing Isaiah. And I like what they said. They wanted to have Isaiah around people that were like him so that he can see you see his potential. He can see what he, what he can grow up to be. And so sometimes we have to do the same thing. Sometimes we have to be around different people so that we can see past where we are now and see what we have the potential of becoming. That's what helped me, growing up. you know I didn't, I looked at things and people, around me, and I gravitated to them because I needed a visual to see myself outside of my own circumstances. And the more you the more you get around people that have a different mindset and that are going in the direction that you are going, you start to dream more. Have you ever noticed that? You start to visualize yourself achieving certain things. All of a sudden, you may have felt like a failure, and all of a sudden you get around somebody who feel like they can change the world, and all of a sudden you start feeling like, well, dang, that I guess I could change the world too. So we're going to talk about the next thing we're going to talk about is not being aware of your gifts and talents, right? Those are some reasons why you can also lose your ability to dream. If you don't know what you're capable of, how can you possibly dream of getting somewhere that you have no idea of what you're where you're going? It's like having a compass and not knowing exactly where you're going. You just all over the place. You just driving, you just taking the compass and you just walking in circles and you don't even realize it. So when you are not aware of your gifts and talents, that can be a reason why you can lose hope of your ability to dream. So take inventory. Look at some things that you're good at. You don't have to be better than this person or better than that person. Look at the gifts that God has given you, right? And figure out, what am I good at? What is it that I can do, that I can contribute, that nobody can do the way I can do it, right? And begin to take down. Once you begin to identify that, then start to find some people that are doing what you're doing, right? Find some people that are doing the exact thing that you're doing and start to study them. Start to figure out, what is it that they're doing? What is it about what they're doing that I haven't contributed or done in my daily activities, right? What is it that I see this person is confident and this person is able to operate in whatever it is that their gift is. They're just confident in everything that they do. Find out what it is that they do. you know Listen to audios books. Listen to, I love reading, audio books, and I mean listening to audio books, because they encourage me in different areas of my life where I might deal with a little bit of incompetence, right? And what I've heard from one of my previous coaches said your competence increases as a result of you. Once you increase your competence, then your confidence will increase. And sometimes that's just the problem with some of us. Some of us, we don't have a roadmap to what it is that we want to do in our life. So we start saying things out loud like, "Oh yeah, I want to do this and I want to do that," right? And hey, how are you? How are you? um Sometimes we don't have a roadmap to where we want to go. Some of us, you could ask me, what do you want to do? Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that. Okay, well, where's your plan to get there? I don't know. I just know I want to do that, right? Well, guess what? If you don't have a plan, and it doesn't mean it has to be a perfect plan, but you got to start somewhere, right? If you know you want to go to the corner store, you're not going to drive in circles, right? You're going to get in the car and you're going to drive to that location. And sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes you got to get in the vehicle. You got to start taking over, like my sister Zayla said. You got to be the driver. You got to stop letting other people drive your car, drive you into destinations that you ain't never intend on going, right? And that's what some of us do. We don't take we let people get in the car and we say, I don't know where I'm going. So you let people get in the driver's seat and you let them take you where you want to go, right? And then they start to navigate you through different places in your life, and you're like, I never signed up to go here. That wasn't my intention. I wasn't trying to go here, but now you're there. And now you can't navigate. Now you ain't got no way back, because now they used your car, right? They have taken over your car and told you where you're going to go. When are you going to take some time and look at the things that you know that you're capable of doing? It doesn't mean that you may be perfect, but stop leaving your abilities and your decision making to somebody else to decide for you. You know you want to get up and start that business, go do what you got to do. Stop waiting. We live like we got all the time in the world, right? I had this revelation about this, and I said, you know what? We act like the same time that we have today is the same time that we're going to have tomorrow. You know how many people didn't wake up today? You know how many people didn't wake up today because they were hoping that today they would do what they were supposed to do yesterday? And I'm not talking about for those of you that may be in a period of your life where you feel like God has you in a waiting period. And because you have to know the season that you're in. So if you know that you're in a season of waiting, hey, look, that is what I'm talking about. That is your ability to be able to figure out where you are in your season. But whatever it is, take control. Stop letting other people navigate, right, and tell you which direction to go, right? You can, it's nothing wrong with getting counsel, but you should not be governing your whole life on what another person says you should or should not do. right? Because if you do, I promise you, you're going to wind up depending on them to tell you everything. And next thing you know, you're not going to be able to do nothing unless they tell you to do it. You're not going to be able to move. You're going to be going through this whole validation approval system, and everything you're going to be doing, you're going to be feeling like it's wrong because you feel like, oh, I didn't get permission from this person. No, if you know that you are fully capable of doing something, get out there and do the research, do the legwork, and start making moves like you don't have tomorrow. The more you sit back and the more you think about, oh, I have all the time in the world, oh, I'm just going to do this, then guess what? So you don't know what's going to happen between now and the time you go to sleep and from the time you get up, go to work, or whatever you do tomorrow. So we got to start we got to stop taking our life for granted and being more intentional, and being more intentional with the things that God has put on the inside of us, right? If you know that God is giving you the ability to encourage people, right? It's going to naturally come. You don't have to work to do it. What happens is, let me tell you something. Most of the time, the things that we desire to do, that we love to do, they come naturally. The only thing we pretty much need strategies. We might need strategies, but when it comes to our gifts, every good and perfect gift comes from above. That means when it comes, it come perfect. The only thing you're doing is using different tools and strategies to help you perfect what you already naturally do, right? So stop dealing with this mindset of, oh, I gotta wait until I'm perfect, I gotta wait until I'm this. Let me tell you something. I've been doing Sisterhood Check-in for a little over a year, right? And I know for some of you have been with me in the beginning. It's my sweater cup. For some of you that have been with me in the beginning, y'all know I've had some videos that was cut smack off, right? I've even had a guest where I was gone for 8 minutes restarting my computer. It's the start that stops people. You got to get out there and you got to just do it. You got to take the steps. And sometimes God ain't going to give you the next step until you do the very first thing he tell you to do. Going live, let me tell you something. We're moving towards an industry where if you're not showing your face, if you're not showing up, it's going to be hard for people to believe that you can give them a transformation for their life because you're not showing up, right? You can't expect to have a business and don't show up, right? You have to show up. I go live at least 4 times a week to show up. And every time I show up, my business revenue increases because I show up and I'm able to show and be able to provide transformation through my skill sets, right? If you want to be able to operate, I'm going to give you a little coaching one-on-one, right? This is free. You want to do something in life. You got to stop everybody expecting everybody else to do it for you. You have to be intentional. You have to be intentional. Some of us have gifts, all kinds of gifts, and we ain't got nothing to show for it. Some of us have gifts and talents, and we have nothing to show for it. And that is bad. You are a great communicator, right? You are good at dotting your I's and crossing your T's. You are good at all this perfect, excellent colloquialism, and yet you are doing nothing with it. You are great at making sure that somebody else is encouraged and making sure that somebody else is uplifted and making sure that they are the best at what they do. You are the greatest assistant executive to somebody else, but yet all the gifts and talents that you have are going to waste because you have nothing to show for it. There's nothing wrong with using your gifts and talents to help other people, right? But there are some times where you have to position yourself, right? To not always be, and I'm not talking about helping somebody with a particular skill set. I'm talking about where you're allowing everybody else to just literally just take your gift and do whatever they want to do with it. And you're not using your gift the way you know God instructed you to use it, right? Think about that. So the next time, right? The next time the next time you think about why is it that I've lost my ability to dream, is because you are not doing anything with the gifts and talents that God has given you. Some of you, like I said, you're in your waiting season, but some of you, you've been on your mark, you've been getting set, and you've been had the baton in your hand and you ain't went nowhere yet. You still standing there on your mark, still trying to get set with the baton in your hand, saying, I'm just waiting. Waiting for what? What are you waiting for? There's never going to be a perfect opportunity. Never. Right? I thought the same thing. Oh, I'm just going to wait when I write my book. Oh, I'm just going to wait. And then when I sat down, I thought about it. What am I really waiting for? What am I really waiting for? Right? All I had to do is just that I just happened to do it at the time of COVID, but it took me sitting down at the table and thinking about my life and thinking about all the things that I have overcome and thinking about all the people that I have helped and thinking about all the lives that I have affected, thinking about all the people that have affected my life. And I started to think I have a story to tell. And so that's why I named my book, What Happened to Me? How Did I Get Here? That's how I came up with the title, just thinking about some of the things that I've been through and was like, you know what? I've been through a lot of stuff and God has literally brought me through a lot of stuff. So I'm going to use this ability and I'm going to take this time, right? And I'm going to share with people my story about my life, because sometimes when you start sharing, and you know this, I don't have to tell you this, when you start talking to people and you start discussing things about your life and things that you've gone through, you will be surprised at how many people will listen to you and say, man, I was thinking that same thing. Man, I was about to take my life. And then I heard your story. And when I heard your story, I realized that I don't have to take my life, right? I realized that God does give people a second chance. And some of us a third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th chance, right? So think about your gifts and don't allow your gifts and talents to go to waste because you're afraid it ain't perfect enough. It ain't right enough. I don't have all of this. Your gift the more you start to step into it and the more you start to do it, the more you will start to realize that, hey, I can do this. I hated doing lives. Oh my gosh. When I tell you I hated lives, I hated lives. And the reason why I hated lives because I didn't like talking to him. I was bashful. I was shy. I mean, it seemed hard to believe because I'm a talker. But the reality was I didn't want to talk in front of people. I'd rather be behind the scenes. I was comfortable being behind the scenes and comfortable being creative in my own little space. I didn't want to be out in the front, right? I didn't want to demonstrate, though I knew how to do a lot of things. I didn't want to be out front, right? I didn't want to be on a camera telling my business. That's how I looked at it. I'm not telling my story. I would tell it to people that I would talk to that go through different things, and we would just be in a one-to-one conversation. And I was comfortable. I'm comfortable with that. If I'm sitting down and I'm talking to you one-on-one, you liable to get a whole lot of stuff. You liable to hear my whole life story. But to stand before a group of people or to be before a group of people, I have 7,000 people on one of my pages, 2,000 on my personal page. I think this is and 360 something in my wisdom clinic. And I'm telling you, I've got close to about 10,000 people that I talk to on a weekly basis. And who would have ever known that I would even have the guts to talk to this many people? But what I started to realize is when you have a story that you know can impact other people, when you have a story that you know can help other people, you don't think about the fear. You think about the person who may be watching that may be at their wits end, right? You think about the person that's watching that this may be their moment. This may be their last straw, right? And they may hear you. They may see you and say, "You know what? I'm gonna take a moment and I'm gonna rethink what it is that I'm about to do." You don't know. We'll never know. We'll never know the impact that we have when it comes to different people, because we don't. Everybody that whose lives you affect may not all tell you. So when you think about what it's going to take, or when you think about losing, right? When you think about you losing your ability to dream, you lose everything. When you lose your ability to dream, you start making decisions that have nothing to do. You start doing some dumb stuff, right? You start finding yourself in areas you know you ain't got no business being in. You find yourself spending money in areas you know you could have saved that money or used that money for something else. When you lose your ability to dream, it's almost like you're losing your hope for life, because your dream is what navigates you through life. Your dream is a picture of you being who you are in the future, right? It's a picture of your life and where you're heading, right? And if you lose that ability to do that, I'm telling you, I share this with you. I don't think I've ever shared this with anybody. But I remember one time, my husband, before he passed away, I remember we were sitting in my office. And I remember we were planning and he was talking about some of the things that he wanted to do. And he was, and then all of a sudden he got stuck, right? And I never shared this with anybody. But I remember thinking to myself, it's like he sat there, he was like, as he was telling me the things that he wanted to do, it's like he stopped. And he never said anything, he just stopped. And I said to myself, I remember thinking to myself, like, did he just stop dreaming? Oh. And he always was a man that was like, oh, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to become. This is what I want to do. This is what I want. But when he stopped in the middle of talking to me about his dream, I started to think, oh my gosh, I know that he's got dreams and aspirations in him, but something stopped him. And I never said it to him, but I thought to me, I remember thinking to myself, like, is this going to be the end? Because I understood that the minute you stop dreaming about about the future, dreaming about becoming who it is, then it's either you are finished with your assignment here on earth, or there are some things that are yet to be revealed. So it wasn't too much longer after that he passed away. And I remember some months had went by and I started to think about that. And so I started to look at my life and I started to think, okay, I got to keep dreaming, because if I stop dreaming, or if it ever comes a time where I begin to stop dreaming, that may be the end for me. And I don't want to go before I'm able to empty out everything that God has for me in my life. When I die and when I transition to heaven, I want God to be able to say, I want to be able to say it is finished. I want to be able to say that I've done everything that I know that I was supposed to do. I want to be able to say that I died empty. I want my children and my family and my friends to say, she did what God told her to do, right? And you want to be the same. You want to be that same way. You want to get to a point where you feel like that you are operating and you are walking in the direction that God is leading you to walk in, right? And that you're doing everything that he told you to do, and you are continuously increasing your belief system. Let me tell you something. If you're going to dream, you got to protect that belief system. If you want to dream, if you want to continue to look ahead into the future and to where God has called you to do, you got to continue to perfect and work on your belief system. Because if your belief system, the minute your belief system go down, let me tell you something, everything starts to fade. That's why he tells us to be prepared to give an answer to every of the hope that's on the inside of us. The minute you need hope in order to be able to see yourself in the future. You need hope to see yourself fulfilling that goal, or fulfilling that thing that God called you to do. And the minute you lose hope, you're in trouble. You are in trouble. So I just want to go ahead and go back and reiterate your belief system. All right. The reason why some of us lose our ability to dream is because of our belief system, right? Hey, of our belief system, right? Some of us struggle with our sight and our vision. So if you have a problem seeing yourself, the way God sees you to, then guess what? You're going to have to get to a place where you might have to isolate yourself and get before God and figure out what it is that I'm supposed to do. What is it? Sometimes you have to remove all the distractions. Sometimes you have to remove yourself so that you can get in a quiet space and figure out what is it that I'm supposed to do. I'm sorry, guys, my throat's a little dry. What it is that I'm supposed to do. What am I supposed to? Why is it that I no longer see the things that I used to see? So if you're losing sight of your dreams and visions, normally 9 times out of 10, it has to do with your belief system, has to do with your sight, and it has to do with your vision and your ability, and not being intentional and not being aware of the gifts. Take it for granted the gifts that God has given us. I think about Whitney Houston and how powerful she was as a singer, right? Whitney Houston had a powerful voice. Well, when her voice, when she started to, get into drugs and stuff like that, and she started to lose her voice, right? She took for granted that what she was putting in her body was affecting her gift and her skills. And it's the same way with us. When we start to do things to our body to affect, we can do things to our body and to our mind to affect our ability to see ourselves in the position that God has called us to be, right? If you are constantly watching negative stuff on TV, right? If you are constantly entertaining negativity and you're constantly entertaining negative stuff, it's going to affect your vision because you're going to always be thinking about negative stuff, right? I know we hear that all the time, but trust me, guys, it is so true. You have to protect your mind. You have to protect because your dreams compact with the manifestation of everything that God has ordained you to do, right? So make sure that you are being intentional and that you're not taking for granted, right? The gifts that God has put on the inside of you. Don't show up. Don't allow yourself to be in a position where you have a whole bunch of gifts and talents and you have nothing to show for it. You have not transformed anybody's life. You have not helped anybody because you just feel like you got all the time in the world. Oh, I got all the time in the world. I'm just going to just do this. I'll do it next week. I'll do it tomorrow. Man, there's some people that are in the grave today because they said they was going to do something tomorrow. All right. So be intentional with what God has given you today. There's some things that he may give you today. There's some things he may not give you to walk in until tomorrow or next month or next week. But there are some things that he is giving you now. There are some things that he is giving you the ability to do in this season of your life. And I want you to not take that for granted. Don't take for granted the time that you have to do what it is that you told that you're supposed to do. I remember I had this conversation with my late husband. It was another situation. I had a conversation and we were working at nighttime. And I said, you know what? I had this epiphany, right? And I said, what if God only gave you 39 years to live, right? And you only found out what you're supposed to do at 38 years old. That means you have 1 year to do what God has called you to do. Only 1 year, right? Little did I know that literally a week later he would transition into heaven. And literally I thought about that. I thought about so much. I think that was most of the reason why I was like in shock, because I was thinking about some of the conversations that I was having. And I didn't even realize the impact of some of the conversations that we had and what happened afterwards. So I was literally like, for a moment, it was just like, what? So don't take for granted the gifts and talents that God has given you, and don't show up like that man with that one talent, burying his talent because he's afraid. He's afraid that he's not going to be good enough, or he's afraid that he's not going to be perfect. Don't bury your gifts and talents. Take one day at a time. Take an initiative every day. Even if your goals and dreams require a little bit more planning, that's fine. Continue to do the research and show up. Show up in your business. Show up. Be present, right? So that people can see if you are a coach, or if you are if you have your own brick and mortar business, show up, right? Show up and let people see what God has put on the inside of you and offer them a real transformation so that you can be able to because there are people assigned to you. I don't know if you know that or not, but there are people assigned to your life. And the more you put off doing what you are supposed to do, you put them in a position, you withhold their transformation from them. Because God may have put something in you specifically for them, but the more you put it to the side, the more they die the more they either die or they are stagnant in their transformation while they're waiting on you. And you don't want to be you don't want to get before God and he say, I chose you to transform this person's life, but you just wouldn't get it together. You have nothing to show for your gifts and talents. Nothing. I chose you. I healed you of this disease. I healed you of this particular financial situation. And I gave you the ability to go out there and bless somebody else. I gave you the ability to go transform somebody else. You're good with your finances. Go help somebody else with theirs. You are good with eating healthy. Go out there and help somebody else do the exact same thing. You are good at parenting. Go help another parent with their children, right? Don't show up empty with nothing to show for all the things that God has put on the inside of you. And that's all I have for today. If you guys you guys are, let me read some of your comments. So true. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. That is so true, BFF. So true. So true. You know, we are so into wanting things to be right. And I get it. I think we all to some degree want things to be right. But guess what? They begin to get right. They get better as you do it. If I wouldn't have stepped out to do the things that God had put on my heart and I had to wait for things to be perfect, if I had to wait for things to be all lined up the way I wanted them to, I would have never done it. I would have never done it. I would have never done it. But as I go back and I look and reflect on when I started in a lot of areas of my life, I realized, hey, I've actually got better in this area. I've actually gotten, my communication skills is getting better. The more I started to work on myself in certain areas, the more I start to work my business, the better I become at my business. Your business is not going to just show up and it's just not going to be like that unless you work it, right? You want to be a better person. You want to work on being a better communicator. You want to work on being just a better you. Guess what, honey? You got to do something. You are not going to wake up out of your sleep and just be like, ding, I'm better. It doesn't work that way. You have to put in the work to the work that you want to see, in regards to you becoming all that God has called you to do. So that is all I have for today. If you guys have any questions or comments, make sure you put in the comments #replay. If you have not, if I know that I do Sisterhood Check-in late at night. So if this is your first, if you are watching the replay, make sure you put #replay. And Shalina, I just want you to know I'm praying for you, hoping you get better soon. And we will see you next week on Sisterhood Check-in. Don't forget to join us this Sunday for Dinner with the Coaches. We have some amazing stuff going on. So make sure you join us and I will see you on Sunday. Have an amazing weekend, guys.
I've done some terrible things in my life.
Some of them I chose to do.
And I own these choices.
But others, I just feel like I was swept up in a series
of circumstances that didn't involve my will.
They just sort of happened to me.
I've become the culmination of those choices and circumstances.
So I guess I just need to say it.
I really
need some help.
Hello, I'm Tracy Harris, and I help women in positions of leadership go from stalling to balling, taking back control of who they are so that they can create the lifestyle they desire. For more information, go to www.tracylharris.com.
Hi, I'm Sherman Q. Harrison, Herbal Naturopath. I help release individuals from a state of toxicity into natural wellness so they are able to go from feeling to healing. Book a call with me today at www.healbynature.org.
Dot.
Hello, my name is Thomas Taylor III. I'm a visionary coach. I help business leaders align their dreams with their destiny so they can build a lasting legacy. So if that's you, you can reach out to me via Instagram at Thomas Taylor III, or you can follow me on YouTube at Thomas Taylor III, that's Taylor Your Dreams. That's Thomas Taylor III, that's Taylor Your Dreams. Until then, go out there and make it a great day.
Craven, and I am Confidence Coach. I empower female entrepreneurs find fulfillment by awakening their confidence. Find me at I am Kayla Craven on Instagram. Let's unleash your confidence.
I'm Nadira Lewis, author, life, and business coach, and founder of the Becoming a Woman of Proverbs Wisdom Academy. I help women take their life experiences and turn them into life lessons. I also believe that just like hurt people, transform people can transform people too. Make sure you book a call with me at www.womanofproverbscoaching.com, and I'll see you on the other side of victory.
IBG Careers is looking for customer service representatives needed to service their customers from home. If you're interested, please apply at www.ibgcareers.com.
Let's work. I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord that I wake again. I wake again. I pray the Lord that I. Let's work. Yo, it's go time, showtime, never backing down time. One shot, yo, make it count, yo. Crunch time, shine time.